Well, guys, welcome to a Wednesday. We have the Conquest call-in show. This is, sorry, I'm still on Wednesday's clock. The Thursday edition of the Wednesday call-in show. I'm here always with Preston. And for the next hour, you guys are the show. We will take your calls on any topic. As always, we throw a topic out to you. This week, we decided that we're going to really take a look at the recruiting because there's been a lot of noise out there. I'm not sure exactly what has changed, but there's definitely a lot of people talking about Juju Lewis, the five-star quarterback from Carrollton, Georgia. There's a lot of people questioning some of the other recruiting with Miami popping into the picture, with Oregon, as always. The places with the deep pockets always make a little bit of noise. This is the home stretch. We're getting pretty close to December. Also, we'd love to take your calls and thoughts on the Washington game. I will be taking predictions and ideas about Washington. Preston, it's been kind of a slow news week. I mean, we know that Gino Quinones, unfortunately, young man can never really just seem to get a break. He's going to be out for the rest of the season, but I heard Lincoln Riley talking about in his press conference that he has at least one more year and he's going to try to petition for a second one. So, I mean, just wish him, again, another Trojan going down for the rest of the season. We could talk about the depth of the line. Lincoln Riley seemed a bit optimistic about that. But as always, you're optimistic, Preston. Just want to hear any thoughts just going into the calls. What are your just instant thoughts about what's going on at USC right now?
Yeah, right now, I mean, I think there's good news, right? Missing all those guys out of the secondary last week. And it seems like we may get a few of them back. So very excited about that. Always unfortunate to lose guys, especially like Gino. Like, guys have been really going through it. Also, I just want to say happy Halloween, everybody. I see Gabe noticed it right now. Definitely have the Reggie Bush Miami Dolphins jersey on. This is a rare one. Very underrated season from Reggie in 2011. So I had to bring that out on Halloween for the USC show. But yeah, man, we got guys out on the road. Juju and Carday Smith out on the road in Colorado. Looks like Dwayne Morris is also going to be in Tennessee, and a few other recruits on the road. So I feel optimistic about the fact that I feel like our class has been pretty on board with sticking with their commitments and not really visiting. A lot of people have gone out and said, I'm not looking around. I want to be a Trojan. But you're still gonna see kids go out and experience life and go on these visits. So I mean, I would love to hear some of the pitches from some people in chat on why Juju should be a Trojan. There's many great reasons. I don't know why he would want to go to another school other than USC. So I'd love to hear people in the chat and how they feel about it, how they would draw him to Southern Cal. And yeah, man, we got Washington, man. Let's get another W. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, before the season started, I would have questioned, like, why on earth are we even talking Indiana? Why Kurt Cignetti has done a lot to change that situation. And then the Colorado thing for me, really, I mean, I'm thinking about Colorado. How long is Deion Sanders going to be there? And as soon as he leaves that program, what's going to happen to up there in Boulder? So there's a lot of stuff to talk about, you guys. Again, starting with the recruiting. I know you guys love to talk your recruiting. You can bounce it off us. We could talk some recruiting. Again, I do want to get people's scores on the Washington game as well. So give us a call. Phone number 888-997-4539, 888-99-RILEY. Give us a call. Give us your thoughts on USC football, on USC recruiting, on whatever you want. Because, again, you guys are the stars. You're not rushed. Try to have one take. Let us get in there, and then we'll go from there. Hi, caller. What is in your name, and where are you calling from?
Hi, guys. Dave from Iowa.
Dave, how you doing, man? Dave is like one of our longtime callers.
Yeah. Sorry I couldn't call in last week. Had some personal stuff. But one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight, aside from the recruiting stuff, because I'm sure you guys are going to be getting a bunch of phone calls about Julian Lewis. But what are your thoughts on Pete Thamel's quote on, the insider information that he has that the buyout is north of $90 million? Do you guys think that's accurate?
The number. Do I think the number's accurate? I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody knows what that contract really looks like. But I would say this. Can I ask you this question, Dave? What's it between 90 and 70 million at this point?
Yeah.
And please don't say 20 million.
Not a whole lot.
Seems a little high though, for year 3. What was it? It was a 110, 100.
Yeah, it just seems really high, like to what Preston was just talking about. Yeah, very high.
Yeah, and I think the thing is again, I know a lot of people are down on the program. I know a lot of people are down on Lincoln Riley, especially. I think that he does deserve criticism for some of the things he's done. Obviously, nobody's perfect. I think there's questions. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, I thought this was the massive home run hire. Absolutely zero worry in my veins about him being successful. I'm not going to lie and say I that's been tested a little bit. But here's what I'll say really quickly before we start talking about buyouts. I love the way Joe Klatt put it. He said, you gotta let lose big before you lose little. You gotta lose little before you win little, and then you win little before you win big. You know what I mean? And we all live in a world of microwaves and instant success and instant gratification and turning things around. The people out there that saw that 11-1 regular season in 2022, it was amazing. We watched it. We saw everything come together. But if we really had been looking with a trained eye and looking at the defense, we would have known right away there's some issues. We also would have looked at, okay, we have this great offensive line, but geez, who do we have behind these guys? Not much behind these guys, do we? I was wrapped up in it. I was caught up in it, Dave. I was excited about the season, saying this is amazing. This Caleb Williams guy is better than advertised, etc. And then the reality starts to slowly set in, the fact that, the defense was an absolute mess. And Lincoln Riley is never going to live down the fact that he had Grinch to start with, that he didn't get rid of him earlier. But I keep going back to the point is the roster at this school in the positions on the trenches where you need to win, where schools like Michigan and Georgia and Alabama and Oregon, they've been building lines for years, going back 5, 6, 7 years. And USC just started doing it a couple years ago. Do we want miracles? We've seen that you can bring in some guys, right? You can bring in, like for instance, Emmanuel Pregnon is by far our best lineman. Who would have thought that, before the season started? You know what I mean? The most consistent lineman has been Pregnon. Who would have thought that from the beginning? Preston. So I mean, my short answer is the buyout is crazy. But I'm not even looking at the buyout because you guys don't worry about the buyout for at least a couple of years, because it's really not even on the table. Not even the money. It's just like the investment that USC's made in Lincoln Riley and the infrastructure and everything. USC went all in. You don't go all in like this and then bail in year 3. You just don't do it, Preston.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think everything's getting in motion now. The plane is on the runway. We're just going, we might be running into some seagulls and stuff, running into some birds and stuff like that. But eventually it's going to take off. The facilities are coming. The recruiting's ramping up. Things are in motion. So I'm not worried about a buyout right now. I think, Lincoln Riley, at least for me, I'm doing a 5-year evaluation. At the end of year 5, I'm going to look at it and be like, okay,
Dave, I want to hear your thoughts. I know you put a lot of thought into this. What are your thoughts on that number?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a lot of money. I mean, obviously it's absurd, but you kind of do the math in terms of, his annual, and, you're definitely looking at around $13 million a year. And it's, I mean, I'm sure everyone agrees with it, but it's just frustrating that, in terms of the outcome on the field, in terms of record, $13 million for borderline mediocrity, and a coach that is paranoid about the media when his true focus should just be the football team and recruiting. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. Again, the beginning of the season did not look like mediocrity. And I said at the beginning, I'm still saying it now. This team, when it's at full strength, which is football and it's attrition and people are going to get hurt, I get it. They look great. They did. It was questionable. The offensive line is improving. Would you agree, Dave, or would you disagree? You think that they're not getting better?
Definitely improving game by game.
And we would have to say all three of us would have to say that the defense is really, especially the young guys, they're showing promise. We got to see a lot with the young guys with the injuries. And Dan Lynn even said, hey, look, it's great. We're getting these guys in. These are the guys we'll be playing next year. A lot of guys are getting reps now. It's going to be rough, but hey, look, we have 4 losses. We're not going to the playoffs. So it's going to be great to get these guys. It sucks that guys are injured, but it's great that we're seeing these young guys get reps that they probably would not have gotten if we were, fighting for a playoff spot as well. So I'm with you, Dave. I mean, USC took a chance. There's no doubt about it, But as far as close to a home run hire, Preston and Dave, I thought USC showed the one thing that really gives me a lot of confidence is the fact that USC is going out and getting a guy like a Lincoln Riley. They're not getting some NFL retread that goes on to win national championships. But I mean, you know what I mean? You did, for the first time, they're hiring proper, you know, and when we needed defensive coordinators, they go out and they get Lynn, and then they bring in a staff that's top notch. I really want to see, I want House of Victory to show us that we can, if not be equal to the Oregons and the Ohio States out there, throwing $20 million at a roster, at least we can compete and get the pieces we need, because I don't think we're a couple of plays away from being in the playoffs, but I think we're a couple players from being in the playoffs right now. I really do believe that. Give us a couple interior linemen and a couple of veteran tackles this year, and I think we would have been right in that conversation. But hey, Dave.
100%. I agree with you right there.
Appreciate you as always. Thank you so much, Dave. Anything else for us?
Nope, that's it. Fight on.
Great call, Dave. Thank you so much. Fight on. And what's your Husky score?
Sorry, completely forgot about giving my prediction. I got us up 30, winning 34-31.
Ooh, close one up in Seattle. Awesome. I like it. All right. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate your call.
Thanks, man.
Have a good night, guys.
You too. Thanks. Yeah. So, I mean, I get what he's saying. That's crazy about that buyout number, but it's not too shocking. You know, this was not a 2-year, 3-year investment, you guys. This was USC saying, we really want to make this happen. And I think that USC does need to show a little patience, and that includes the fan base. And you know what, guys? I was actually pleasantly shocked, Preston, the numbers that showed up for the game at Rutgers. I thought that thing, you know, the old joke was, right, the LA mausoleum, but it was the Coliseum. And you know, the guys that did show up, you could tell they're the diehards. You guys that showed up on Friday for a late game. And by the way, the whole Carmageddon thing, that was I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts if you guys went to the game on that too, either in the chat or call in. You know, granted, I come about 3 hours before the game, and I usually have to leave about an hour and a half after the game, but I drove right in and drove right out. Wow. So I mean, it wasn't what they made it sound like it was going to be. Okay. Also, if we want to, we could also talk briefly, a little Dodgers. You know, if you guys want to talk Dodgers as well, world champion Dodgers. I should put some respect on that name. Give us a call, you guys. Phone number 888-997-4539. If you're a first-time caller, this is going to be a great time because it looks like we do not have a call. This might be a record. We had one phone call for today. That's all right, Preston. That's more me and you time.
Yeah. So Juju Lewis, right? Juju. This is my pitch to Juju, right? Juju, come to USC, man. Everything you want is here. Everything you need is here. The weather, the women, the greatest quarterback coach in the entire country, the market to make you as big as you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be a star for 4 years. Be a star for a lifetime, man. Deion couldn't even protect his own son last year. His son, Shadur Sanders, had a broken back. You think he's going to protect you? Think he's going to look out for you? Lincoln Riley, USC, best fan base in America. They're going to stick behind you no matter what. Through the thick and thin. Come on down to Southern Cal, man. Come on down.
So the beginning, we heard this. I'm with you. Again, I made my point. Indiana's, you know, and their offense is looking really nice, but this is 1 year. Cignetti, do we believe that Cignetti, is this a final destination for Cignetti? Will he be there 4 years? Will he be there, 3 years? You know, we don't know what the situation is going to be with that. We do know that USC has Lincoln Riley. We know Lincoln Riley is not going anywhere, at least not in the immediate future. We know that Lincoln Riley continues to put NFL starting quarterbacks. You win Heisman trophies. You can see the blueprint. You saw how Caleb's family fared, here in LA, and how Caleb Williams, with his electric personality and just the way he balled out, made a hell of a lot in legitimate NIL. I don't mean collective, buying players like we're going towards. I mean, with his name, image, and likeness, was able to parlay being in LA and being on the stage. And let's face it, the quarterback position at USC is a very special position nationally. I mean, it's just known. So you have the opportunity to come here and work for and work under and learn under a quarterback whisperer, quarterback guru, whatever name you want to throw on it. But Lincoln Riley in a very quarterback friendly offense where you know is going to be among the top elite wide receivers in the country year in and year out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why you're even looking at Colorado. I'm not even sure why you're even looking at Indiana. I'd love to hear anyone, if there's a Buffalo out there, if there's a Hoosier out there that wants to tell me what exactly it is about your program that's going to be more interesting. Is it because you get to play in the Big 12 and Big 12 football? Was that probably something for him to think about? You know, is it that you're going to go to Indiana and have those be a quarterback in Indiana weather instead of being in Southern California? This is Southern California. If you're a quarterback, this is where you want to throw the ball. Is it on sunny games here in Southern California?
Absolutely, man. And you know, one thing my dad told me when I was going to college, he said, Preston, man, you want to go somewhere. Where do you want to live after you finish your career? Do you really want to live in Bloomington, Indiana after you finish your career, bro? Do you really want to live in Boulder, Colorado? I mean, Boulder, Colorado, I mean, it got some mountains and stuff like that. But in LA, you could do anything you want, man. You could go to the snow, go to Big Bear, you could go to the beach, you could go vacation in San Diego. Like, come on, man. This is the place. Let's do it.
Yeah, and if you're out there, Juju, I know you're a big fan of our show. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying that, but I want to believe that.
He's definitely watching.
If you're a huge fan of us, you know you got to listen to what Preston told you. That's some sage-like advice. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Roland Hines, calling from Houston, Texas.
Hello, Mr. Hines. How are you? First-time caller, huh?
Yes, I am.
Well, thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Nothing. I wanted to know, what do y'all think about the incoming class, the ones that's committed and stuck to their commitment, that's not even going around to other schools?
Yeah, just go ahead, Preston. I'm sorry.
I love them. I love Matai Tioga, linebacker, Gus Cardova, very, very big, you know, stomp on the Trojans.
You can't hear him?
I got you now.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of these commits have gone out of their way to say that they're, you know, completely committed to the program, regardless what. You even had, you know.
Hang on a second, Preston. Yeah. Hey, could you, Roland? Can you turn down your TV really quick? You're coming back on the other side of it. Can you just turn that down real fast? All right, go.
Yeah, it's down.
Okay, go ahead, Preston. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying a lot of these kids in this class have gone out of their way that said that they're very serious about their commitments to the program, regardless of everything that's going on, losing games, other players decommitting, and saying that they want to be here, that they believe in the coaching staff. Gus Cardova said himself that when he thinks about the coaching staff, it's really second to none, the best defensive and offensive coaching staff in the country. Obviously, Julian Lewis has gone out of his way about how he really just wants to play for Lincoln Riley. His father said the same thing, how special it is to get an offer from a Lincoln Riley and to play at USC. So I love it, man. I love the class. It keeps growing, and I love the players. We got very versatile with the linebackers. Like to see a little bit more beef on the defensive line. As well, the offensive line, but you know, it's a big pickup with Dunn a couple weeks ago, and we're gonna keep on trucking. Man. I love the commits right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got that beef in Floyd Boucard. Don't forget about him.
Yeah, down here in Miami. Yep.
You know, and then it's a great class. I mean, what I love with the USC class is, yes, they say it's a number 10 class, number 11 class. I'm not really concerned with that. If you're getting guys that are highly coveted by other programs throughout the country, and they're willing to say, I'd love to come there. You know, you got all different types of receivers. You know, you got Hines, you got Jerome Miles, who was just rocketing up the rankings. But the guy is fast. I mean, that he's the guy that could take the top off the ball. But year in and out, we hear about the receivers. I like the fact that Coach Henney, and it's not done. I mean, those big guys you're talking about, they're still talking to SC. There are a lot of defensive linemen that USC is going after, and they're doing a good job of getting guys from out the country. Still, USC is still trying to work on getting and cornering the market here in Southern California. I'd like to see more of that. But overall, you know, USC looks like they're primed to make a push at the end of the season. If they can hang on to what they have and add to it, which I believe they're going to do, then you're talking about getting into that rare era of, you know, top 7, top 8 class, getting close to where USC should be every single year. What are your thoughts, Roland?
Yeah. Well, my thoughts is next season is going to be a building season. they're going to bring in the new and mix with the old, and that's going to shock a lot of people. All they have to do is create that bond to where all those players, they want to do whatever they can for each other, then for the team, for the city, for the state. They just have to create that. There's a lot of underclassmen in these high schools that are asking about USC. They just have to reach out and show up, and they can corner it, but they have to commit to doing that. I got faith in them. Shit, I've been following them since Reggie Bush was there. But they have to dig in and tell them, this is what we want, commit to it, and we'll all be on the same page and watch it work out.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're going to go head toe to toe with 20 million yet. I put that word "yet" in there with what Ohio State's doing, right? We know what Oregon's doing, but we do need to be competitive with the rest of the people. We do got to be competitive with that next tier of NIL, and we need to build on the NIL. And I do believe in our alumni, because the donors, all of us, we can put in a little bit here and there, but the big money is going to come from the big names. And I'll tell you what, when USC's winning again, you got to put in LA. Look, I'm just telling you, we are a championship city. I know everyone's going to hate. That's why everyone hates on LA. But with the Lakers, with the Dodgers, and then once every maybe twice in a franchise or once in a franchise, you get the Kings and the Ducks getting involved. But in general, we are a city of championships, and that we won't put up with mediocrity. It is true that people aren't going to show up. That's why, again, I was really surprised. I was calling for, just a absolute worst case scenario with the traffic, with the record, with the feel about the program. I thought nobody's gonna come and support these kids who absolutely deserve all that support and then some. The numbers weren't great, but for a Friday night at 8:00 with all that going on in LA, Trojans, you guys showed up, and that was awesome. Yeah,
I watch all the games on television. I look for them. I Google them. I try to get everything I can, dissect the game, see what's going on, who's playing hard, who's giving up. I'm in for the long haul, regardless of, whatever happens. But I would love to see them on the sidelines looking at each other, telling each other, we are going to win this. Not giving up. Oh, my ankle hurt. Okay, put some tape on it, dirt on it, get back in there. That's what I want to see, and I would love to just ride on with it.
Yeah, I think these guys are tough. Manuel Pregnon was not even supposed to play in the game. When I saw him out there in his uniform, helmet on, hopping around doing his warm-ups, that kid was gutting it out and playing injured. There's a lot of guys gutting it out playing injured. I think this week you're going to see some guys gutting it out. With Covington going back, we're going to Washington. I think he's going to love, because he started out at Washington. I think he's going to definitely want to be up there active and playing that game. And playing corner on a bad wheel, is tough. It's painful, but these guys are tough, and I do believe that we have a group of those guys, and I do think they continue to get those the Gus Cordovas of these. I don't these a little nick here or there is not going to slow these guys down. I believe Lincoln Riley's getting the right type of guys when he talks about for his system. You need to be a culture guy. You need to fit this system first and foremost. I think that's what they have going there, Preston.
Right. For sure. Guys have been fighting all year. I mean, look at Gavin Meyer, man. Guys all wrapped up, got a club,
A club?
Guys, both arms wrapped up, just out there fighting, man, every week. So love to see it. And those are definitely the people that we're bringing in this program.
That's absolutely true. Roland, any other thoughts for us? And don't get out of here without giving me a score.
Oh, I'm not. Trust me. I already know what the score is going to be, and it's going to be decided in the third quarter.
Okay.
My final thoughts on this is USC is going to turn around and it's going to shock some people. They're going to have a few setbacks, just a few, but they're going to shock some people with the growth, and then their recruitment is going to be like, okay, where did he come from? Where did he come from? Why did he flip? It's going to be a conspiracy thing that's going on with the growth. Now, the score is going to be 28-23, decided in the third quarter, no score in the fourth quarter, maybe a field goal, but I don't see it happening. USC on top.
You're leaning into that defense. I like it. I like it a lot. Great score, Roland. Hey, listen.
Love defense, bro.
That's it. Yeah. That's what wins, right? Do me a favor. Great call.
Yes,
make
sir.
sure you call us. Make sure you become a regular like Dave. Love hearing from you guys. Appreciate you calling first time.
All right, then. Thank you.
All right. Fight on, Roland. Yeah,
Yes,
I like that. I want to have a situation. That's the way it used to be at USC. You kind of measure it out a little bit, and then in the second half, those adjustments come in. The adjustments come in and the defense shuts it down, which we were seeing a lot of that early this season.
Yeah.
When you had, people think we just replace EG, right away with this, and we're not going to, Eric Gentry. If we replace Eric Gentry, we think they're going to be able to just go in and not miss a beat. You think we're going to lose like a Lucas. You think we're going to lose Covington. We're going to lose a guy like Jalen. Well, that was for the last game. But we lose players, and this defense isn't going to change. I'm not trying to make excuses, and injuries are part of football. But my goodness, the number of injuries that this defense has had. We saw what they did at full steam. We saw what Danton Lincoln dialed up for these guys. We saw what the coaches did to get them ready, and we saw them play on the field. The tackling, the first 3 games, you guys, was just out of this world, and we saw it. We all know what it looked like before. And speaking of knowing from before, I know this phone number. This is my favorite caller of all time. Hi, caller. Can you let us all know who you are and where you're calling from?
I don't know about that, Tim. This Papa Tim, Prangley. And I haven't called in for a few of your shows because I wanted to see how you handle all this negativity that's going around. And negativity is going away because the real fans are calling in. The real fans were with us on that Friday night in freezing weather. And I just admire the people that showed up. Now, I want to go back to where I started from in the first show of yours. John McKay was almost fired after 2 seasons. John McKay was told, hey, man, you got to get your act together by the president of the university. John McKay developed a defense. He was an offensive genius. It took him 3 years. It wasn't 1 year, 2 years. It was 3 years. I just can't believe that people are so nervous with the reality of what college football is today in this the NIL and people that were able to pull a big giant chunk in from shoe salesmen. And, I realistically think, going back to what I talked about in the first, John McKay first got everything together as far as first offense and then defense. He got his defense together. He got some great coaches in behind him and team coaches, but also the position coaches. When he did that, things started to click. Mm-hmm. And after 3 years, he had a national championship. Now what we have to think about is attitude. Attitude was real strong beginning of the year. We had a W after these games. Attitude started to fade. It started to fade, but it started to come back this last game. You get some young kids in there kicking butt. They're going to learn what they're going to be doing. Are we going to win this year? Not the way we want it to be. But I'll tell you something. I have a feeling in my stomach it could be as early as next year. And the real fans who really believe in this team, who believe in USC, have got to realize you got to hang in there. And they have the attitude, players as well as fans. And the real fans show up when you're down. These are the real fans. And I really admire you. Those who've been stuck by this team, your team, you'll be paid off for it. I can assure you. Okay? And Tim and your partner there, I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you,
Thanks, appreciate it. Listen, those are words of wisdom. That's like decades of Trojan. My dad's been going to SC games since the 1960s. He watched O.J. Simpson win his Heisman and win a national championship in the 68. Dad, I can't remember. But and then into the 70s, you had John McKay continue on, and then you had Robinson come in. My dad kind of brought me along. I started watching. He kept telling me it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It was a heck of a drought. Believe me, you guys. But I didn't hear all the national championships and all the glory my dad got to enjoy. But eventually it came, and it did come. And we talked about it. I remember my dad and I going through the 90s, and I'm just like shaking my head. And we're losing 8 straight to UCLA. And when I was in high school, going to St. John Bosco, a Catholic school, and the Irish were winning every single year. It was brutal, but I still wore my gear. Everyone was Notre Dame, and I still wore my gear, knowing that eventually USC was to get together. And what makes it nice is when you go through, it's like walking through that desert, Dad and Preston. It's like finally when you get that nice ice cold glass of water at the end of it. That's exactly what it was like when we won a national championship. It was just that much colder, that much more refreshing, knowing what we had gone through, where we'd been. We've been through a hard time, Trojan family, going through the Helton years, going through getting kneecapped by the NCAA, and then self-sanctioning ourselves with all the horrible mistakes the program made for a better part of a decade. Well, that's all over with now. I know that we're moving in the right direction, and I do believe that we are ready. The eyeball test is what we saw the first year of Pete Carroll, and we're starting to see that eyeball test because there's no doubting that the offensive line is getting better. The defense is getting better, and we know the offense with Lincoln Riley, once he gets the pieces he needs on that offensive line, is always going to be amazing, Preston.
Yep. Wise words from Mr. Prangley.
100%.
Wise words. I agree 100%. I mean, the underclassmen, I think we have some of the greatest underclassmen in the country. They're just getting started. They're just, wetting their beak to say. And we're gonna be right on point. I'm not worried. I'm not going anywhere. Let's just think about the film we all had on September 1st, right? After the summer of trash talk and everybody trashing on the program. Like, that is not a national championship, but that's what it feels to be vindicated in some aspect or some sort. And we're going to be there. I'm not worried about it. I'll be here waiting when it happens.
I fully agree. Right, Dad. Hey, I love you, Dad. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the wisdom as always. Thank you for the positivity as always. Maybe next time when we're all so down, you can come in and give us that speech again. But I agree. I think it's more welcome when after a victory than when we were on a 3-game losing streak. But I love you, Dad. Thank you so much for the call.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Right on, Dad. Yeah. Every once in a while, my dad's going to call in. He's going to let me know what's going on because that guy knows football, and he's the one. If you guys think sometimes I might get a little bit positive, it's not, because one thing you got to remember, and what I can learn from my dad is you know what? Objectivity and positivity are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
You could be objective and see what you got to do, but you can remember who you are as Trojans, number one. And you could realize that it doesn't matter where we are. We know where we're going. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on. This is Brian from SEC Country, Alabama.
Thank you for calling, Brian. Appreciate you being here. What's on your mind?
Not much, man. I caught part of the show, decided to call in, get my perspective on some things. I think we just need, for the tail end of the season, for the last third of the season, I think we just need to hand that ball off to Woody Marks and Quentin Joyner. Moss, even though he's a cerebral quarterback, he's not the quarterback that's built for this. This offense is not built for him. So I think what Riley is doing, even though he didn't recruit Moss, he's trying to get the kid drafted. So that would be the reasoning for sticking with him as opposed to going with number 14, who reminds me so much of Sam Darnold. He has the tools to run the offense. Now he's not as creative as Caleb was, but he has the speed, he has the size, he has a decent throwing arm, and that's all you need, is that just that threat of running to keep those defensive ends from crashing down so much. But since we don't have that, I say we just get that ball off the Marks, which we should have probably been doing that since the Minnesota game. Just handing it off to Marks, letting him be the bell cow, and let Quentin Joyner come in and relieve him. Now, of course, you're going to take some of the throws away from your remarkable receivers, such as Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon, but that's the hand that we're dealt with right now. As far as from a defensive standpoint, I think we're headed in the right direction. We just need to continue to recruit along the trenches. We got some good players on that defense, some freshmen, and Fountain and Desmond Stevens. So we'll see what happens, the rest of the season.
Yeah, they got the young pieces, like Preston said. I mean, they are there. And then that recruiting class you're talking about, Hayden Lowe's could be something special, you guys. We've been worrying about a pass rush. Every defense is going to struggle if you can't get home on that pass rush, especially on the outside, those pass rush specialists. So I'm excited about that part, but it's also the linebackers. I mean, Ty Jackson, you guys. I don't think did you bring him? I mean, right. We really don't. Everyone's so focused on this 4-4 season. Everyone wants it now. But I'm sure Matt Entz is just licking his chops with the options. Jaden Perlotti. I've never got a really right pronunciation on that. Yeah. Another guy that's just violent. Just blows plays up. Just gets into the back, just flashes. So Ty Jackson and Perlotti. I really am interested in seeing how quickly you can get those guys up to play and up to speed. I don't.
I agree. And the defensive lineman we just picked up, what's his name, Boucard?
Yeah. The interior guy.
Where's he out of?
Miami.
Yeah, Floyd Boucard out of Miami.
He's out of Miami.
6'3", 3 something. He's up there.
Right. So continue to recruit the trenches along the offensive line and defensive line. That's what we're missing, along with the signal caller that's going to fit Riley's MO. His MO is Caleb, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. It's not Miller Moss. And again, I'm not knocking on Miller Moss. It's just that he didn't fit the profile. I would say Riley's least athletic quarterback was the kid that transferred to South Carolina. I don't know why his name keeps escaping me. What's his name?
Rattler.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler.
What's his name?
Spencer Rattler.
He's the least athletic quarterback that Riley has ever recruited, and he's more athletic than Miller Moss is. So it just didn't fit the scheme. I think he's trying to somewhat sneak Moss into at least the second round, late second round, maybe the third round, get the kid drafted because he's been so loyal to the program. And that's what you want to see.
Brian, I hope you don't let me jump in there real quick. I don't think Lincoln Riley's trying to be loyal. I mean, I've never bought that, but he's my friend, so I'm gonna keep him as a defensive coordinator. I'm loyal to Miller because he was here at the program. Riley wants to win. And as much as Riley wants to be good, I'm sure he does. I mean, he's not heartless. I'm sure he wants the best for Miller, but he also has 10 other guys on that offense that he owes responsibility to. And I don't think that he's going to play favorites. I really do believe, once I believe that he's playing guys because he has favorites, then I'm off the Riley train. I honestly believe, I didn't have a conversation about this with him, but I honestly believe that he's playing the guy he feels is going to put USC in the best position to win. That man does not like to lose. He's not used to losing. And I'm saying this, and I think I talked to Gabe about this, if we had a situation where young Jada Mayava was able to put us in a better position to win the game, he'd be on that field. None of us have seen him in the game yet. You know what I mean? We know he fits the bill. We know he's more athletic. We've seen him. Oh my God, that run he had was absolutely insane. I've watched him in practice. The ball just floats. The guy has a gun, but his delivery, he just gets out of his hand. It's amazing to watch. But I've also watched him struggle last year in some games. And so if he's ready, he'd be in the game. I have no doubt in my mind about that. And Miller won this thing fair and square. It's not playing favorites. Miller is not a running quarterback, but the idea, people saying he's not athletic. Define athletic, because he's a quarterback. He moves very well in the pocket. He does. People say he doesn't step in the pocket. He does it all the time.
How I define athletic is being able to make defenders miss outside of the pocket. Like you can sidestep inside of the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You can even climb the ladder, but once you get outside of that pocket and you get into the field of play, can you make defenders miss?
Good point.
That's what Sam Donald was able to do. That's what Caleb Williams was able to do. That's what Kyler Murray was able to do, and even Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts. That's the type of quarterback that Riley needs in order to make this offense effective. Now, you're right. Mayava did have some turnovers last year, but he threw for 3,000 yards. I'm sure he rushed for quite a bit.
Yeah, and it was his first year starting. I'm not knocking him.
Right. And I'm not knocking Moss either, but Moss has had some turnovers too. So if you put the two together, what sets them apart? If both of them have turnovers, both of them have made costly mistakes, what sets them apart? Well, to me, what would set Mayava apart would be his athleticism. Sure, he's going to throw some picks, but he's also going to throw some touchdowns. But when that defensive end crashes down, he can pull that ball out and get you 10 to 15 yards. That's what I'm talking about. So if we're going to take our bumps and bruises, I'd rather take my bumps and bruises with a sophomore, with a true sophomore, than a redshirt junior that's not that mobile.
Okay. I mean, Listen, you make excellent points. I'm not going to write, Preston. I mean, if you have an argument for it,
all I'm saying is next year we're going to see a hell of a competition, man. And if Jaden Miles will probably be a starting quarterback next year, if not Juju Lewis,
going to be competing for it next season.
well, Miller does have another season. That's one thing. First off,
so I think Miller Moss is going to be an NFL quarterback after this year, and I think it'll be a competition between Juju and Jaden.
Juju.
Juden,
I'm just saying, yeah. I think Miller is most likely to go to, but he has a year. So I mean, let's say that he continues to throw interceptions, like you're saying, he struggles. If he doesn't turn it up a little bit, he may return. I'm not saying he's going to, but he has the ability to come back for another year. So
let's take Miller out. Let's take Miller out of the equation. Take Miller out of the equation, and providing that everything works itself out, and Juju does decide to sign with USC. Who you see, taking that leadership, taking that position, and to lead the offense.
I see Jaden.
So you see Jaden over a freshman coming in Julian Lewis
over a true freshman that's supposed to.
I'm wondering why he hasn't shut it down. You guys, okay? Let's have this talk, Brian. Why hasn't he shut it down? Is it that he wants that promise that he's going to be the starter before he comes here? Is it a situation where he does see, because he just wants to kind of see and watch how the quarterback situation shapes up here at USC? There's a million things to this.
I think that's why he's still flirting with Colorado. I think Colorado is more of a threat than Indiana is. I think Coach Prime has promised him that he's going to be the starter. The only thing is, if the kid was a true senior, I would say, hey, look, I would be more apt to give him the nod. But he reclassified, and kind of reminds me of that JT Daniels situation. Is he truly ready for, those college bullets flying over his head like that? To use the metaphor, to use a better metaphor. My thing is, from what I understood, he was going to shut it down in July or August, but he's still making trips. So if I'm Riley, I'm looking at film of other quarterbacks. I'm looking at what's left available out there. I'm even talking to some kids that have committed but haven't decided yet. If I'm Riley, it gets a little too shaky for me with this kid Lewis. He's flirting too much with other schools.
I'm wondering why both you guys didn't think that they might go to the portal for another quarterback as well. I mean, last year there's this young man named DJ Lagway. Who you talk about fitting his scheme. He was his one guy, right? He was all in on DJ Lagway, and then DJ Lagway goes to Florida, and we know how that's working out in Florida right now. He might be available at the end of the season. How's that throw a monkey wrench into things? The quarterback situation is so fluid going into next year. That's how I feel. I wonder what Julian Lewis is thinking. Julian Lewis could have put an end to all this, come in spring camp and win or not win the position. And because one thing I will tell everybody, these people say they're tired of Julian Lewis. Dude, can we clip these and keep these for next year, or maybe even 2026? Because I don't know if you know what this kid is. This kid is real. 247 is out to lunch. Their big reason why they keep dropping him in their rankings is because they say he's not big enough. Can we start counting on our hand the number of 6'1" quarterbacks that have been done very well in college football? Who were 5 stars, by the way, by the same service. Again, don't get me started on some of these recruiting guys, because all he did was come out and ball out during the Elite 11. I watched him play with all those guys. No, he did not have the best arm. But man, he can move that. When they're doing on the 7-on-7, he was moving the ball so smoothly and naturally. In his pro day, he won the pro day. By the way, he's in the toughest division in Georgia, and he's tearing it up there again, which he's been doing since he was a sophomore. So the idea that he's not going to come in here and be special, you guys don't get tired of it. And then really quickly, Paul K, just if you don't mind 1 second, Brian. The reason I don't want to leave this up too much longer. The reason why I'm not putting any stock into that is because he also told me certain guys on the offensive line had really made that leap. And Coach Riley does say things, and I'm not questioning, and maybe he believed, but a lot of stuff that I heard in spring camp, and do you really think he's going to say there's no competition, that one's way above the other? I mean, do you think he might try to be motivating players? There's so many things that coaches do and they use the media for, right? You got to remember they're motivating people. So was he actually tied? maybe, but don't take one clip and say they're equal players. So he's just favoring him. I don't think that's accurate, Paul. I hope you'll understand. I'm not coming after you. I'm just saying, don't believe every clip you hear from we bitch and complain about the coaches and coach speak and saying one thing and doing another, and then also we pick and choose and cherry pick the ones that fit our narrative. I would say that if they were tied, Preston and Brian, I want you guys to answer on this one. If they were tied equally, do you think at this point we would have seen a switch?
Yep.
If they were tied, it would just switch it up. If you've lost 4 games, what do you have to lose? I think if they were tied and they were even, there might be the spark. They might have something a little different. There would have been a switch made. Sorry, Paul. I just don't think that works. Anything else for us, Brian?
Yeah. One more thing before I close out. And again, I appreciate you having me on.
No, of course.
What makes me kind of hesitant on Lewis is this. If Riley didn't have a resume that he has with quarterbacks, I can understand him continuously making these trips. Especially this late in the season, you got signing day is pretty much next month because November 1st is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But with the resume that Riley has, he currently got 4 starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now that he's coached. 3 of them won Heisman. What else do you need to see? So that's what makes me continuously think that he may indeed flip to Colorado. That's what makes me think that. So, but again, that's just my conjecture. But I appreciate you having me on,
Brian. Anytime. I hope you call back. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. Look, if I was a young man, right, and I got to go in, I got to talk to Coach Prime, recruiting you. I mean, geez, you're gonna listen and you're gonna love what you're hearing. So I get.
And Tim, they give you a hamburger. They get you a hamburger too.
Yeah, not much the hamburger, but being in with a personality like that, I get it. I get what they're selling there. I get that you can get excited. But I'm going to flat out say it. Colorado was 0-17 against USC. They're in the Big 12 right now. They're not even in our freaking league. I don't see Colorado being something on par with USC. Never have. They have one national championship that's kind of debatable because they got 5 downs to do it. And I'll tell you, this conversation shouldn't be happening. There's more to this story. We are not in a flat out race with Colorado. There is something behind the scenes, in my opinion, that is happening. Could be very NIL driven. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate, but something here isn't right. Everything that the Julian Lewis camp said early on about we want to play for Riley, we want to play for a guy that's going to get us to the league. If Lincoln Riley's there, he's our guy. It doesn't matter. These are the comments that came from his dad and from him early on. And I don't think that's changed. I think something else has changed. They want Riley to coach Julian Lewis. The question is what's that factor is making them kind of hesitate to pull to make a commitment?
If you had to guess, Tim, what would you guess it would be?
My guess is the competition. I just said it. I might be the bull. I might be the bad guy. In this day and age of NIL, you don't want to come in and sit. You don't want to come in and sit, especially if you think you're going to be there for a couple of years and you're looking for, the development's one thing, but you don't want to come in and sit. And that might be an issue. I'm not saying he's not afraid to compete. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you're making a business decision. And in that business, I hope that wins out is the fact that your real money and your really big thing is getting developed. Like you could be like a Matt Castle who never played a freaking meaningful down at USC, but you came in under under Norm Chow and you got you and then under Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian and you worked on your craft and then you go into the NFL for years. That's an option too. But again, in NIL, would Matt Castle have done that during the age of NIL? There's a 0% chance Matt Castle stays here, sits behind Matt Liner for those years.
And what's funny about that, Tim? He actually played in the NFL longer than Matt Liner did.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
That's true.
He was the backup and then win the Heisman. But again, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks a lot.
Love you calling in, man.
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
all of you guys. I'm not kidding when I say that. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, guys. So fight on, man.
Right on.
So, I don't know if I knew that, believe me, I mean, maybe I wouldn't tell us if it was, I'm never going to say anything that's going to hurt the program. If I knew and it was bad, I wouldn't say a word. But I'm telling you, I don't know anything. I did talk to someone Saturday that is very involved in the process, and said that the Colorado situation is legitimate. There is a legitimate concern. That's why if I wouldn't have put this title, I'm not trying to be clickbaity. I really wanted to hear everybody's thoughts on what's going on with Julian Lewis, because I want to know. Who knows? Maybe someone's out there that might have a little more that can relieve my worry. But I talked to someone who I do trust, who called me aside in the middle of the game. I'm walking from one end zone to the other end zone, take pictures, and the guy go, "Hey, come here," right? And I had a quick conversation with him, and I believe him. This is a guy who was involved, and he said that he had information saying that there's a legitimate worry about Colorado beyond what we hear in the media. I mean, I don't want to go too much detail about it, but it's real. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well. Good evening, team. How you doing? It's Avery.
Avery.
I'm on the location.
Where are you now?
I'm calling from Hagerstown tonight. Can you hear me?
This is where in the world is Avery? That's what we'll have a new segment, and I'll have a little map and I'll pull up where you are on Google Maps. What's up, Avery? What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, man. Well, I'm gonna give you the answer. I'm gonna give you the answer to all of it. When you're not winning, well, then you're not taking care of business, and then you have to have conversations like this. And this is where we're at. This is just where we're at. Furthermore, I've been telling you, I thought Lincoln were starting to pick up and embody what USC really is. Well, this really would have been the year, right? But you don't really have the traditional quarterback that fits your scheme, where you have to get back to what? USC football. Tight ends, running, winning 20-13, 24-10, winning those type of games, right?
Yep.
Remember the drive by Matt Barkley? What type of game they went up there in Ohio State and played? Ugly type of game. That embodies USC. Lincoln Riley don't got so far removed from that it's odd, right? And then this
wait, Avery, you gotta hit your brakes right away. Hit your brakes right away. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the drive you're talking with Barkley was an early out of conference game on the road at the Horseshoe, where we marched down the field and win on a run for a touchdown to win the game. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you're not trying to see what the ultimate picture of what it is.
But I'm gonna remind you.
Hold
on, Avery. Hey, Avery, hold on. Let me finish. What happened in Las Vegas, Avery? What happened in Las Vegas?
What month is it? We don't even look like that team no more.
But also, do you remember 2009, Avery? What was our record in 2009?
How you doing?
All right. So I'm just trying to say, if we're gonna, that was a great moment in Trojan football, and it was great for a young freshman Matt Barkley. But we did watch Miller Moss against LSU drive the ball down the field, and then we'll see what LSU ends up being. Will it be like a top 15 team, a top 25 team? But they're a solid team. We watched them drive the ball down and win a game in very similar fashion without a Joe McKnight, without a Barkley, without Stephon Johnson, those guys. But it's very similar. It was very similar the way they won the game, is all I'm saying. Sorry, Avery, go ahead.
You're right. I respect that, Tim. And we also watched Miller Moss throw the same interception on the same coverage on the same route for 3 weeks straight. So that's neither here or there. Look, I hate that
same
we're in
route.
a situation with Julian. I'm a Georgia guy.
Mm.
I'm from Georgia. I hate that we're in this situation, but I mean, winning cures everything. That's the big problem here. Unfortunately, Colorado is winning, and they look a little bit better than us. I don't think they are better than us. I agree with you. Their trajectory and the conference that they're in isn't going to be better. But let's just be 1,000. What do we look like week in and week out?
Okay.
No, we don't.
Good point
like
again.
There's anything there?
Good point again. Preston, you want to hop in anytime, feel free. Who did Colorado play? What would Colorado's record? Let's all do this on the panel right now. So I'm gonna pull it up right here if someone has memorized their schedule. But what do you think Colorado's record would be if they played the teams USC's just played? Do you see Colorado winning some of these games?
We have losses to Minnesota. That's
No, we
not
don't.
USC.
No, we don't.
I don't want to talk about it.
USC beat Minnesota, but beyond that, go ahead.
I mean,
Yes, there's an asterisk.
we're not even competing at the level that we need to be competing on.
Totally agree, but don't compare us to
USC.
Colorado. But don't compare us to Colorado, okay? I agree. We are not where we're supposed to be. But we don't compare ourselves to Colorado. And Colorado, even this year, I don't think that we're looking up to Colorado at all. Sorry, Avery.
I respect that. In the win-loss column, what does it look like right now?
We don't play the same schedule. We're not in the same conference. Put us in the Big 12. What do you think our record is?
Well, having said that, what's Lincoln Riley's record over the last couple games, last 4 seasons? He isn't producing on a USC level. He's coming into what year? We don't have any All-Americans, but yet we have a Heisman Trophy winner, and we're just not making the adjustments needed as far as the defensive philosophy, only to find out that he's still lagging on the offensive side of the ball. Still, I mean, what are we talking about?
Okay, well, 3 years ago, he won 11 games, and I believe the year before that, he was on pace to win 10 when he left here to come to USC. But yeah, you're right. Last year, 7-5, horrible. This year, at best, 8-4, not up to par. But 3 years ago and 4 years ago, his record wasn't bad.
Well, I mean, you and I, we don't pay last year's taxes. We pay taxes right now. We don't put gas in the car.
You brought up Avery, you know I love you, but you brought up 3 and 4 years ago. I didn't, so I just want to fact check that.
I get it. I get it. We talked at the beginning of the season. I told you the focal point was going to be the changes that need to be or upgrades need to be on the offensive line, and unfortunately, Josh is the weak link. Once again, if I'm a father looking at my son's future, well, how are they doing on the O-line? You know, where's the development there? Is my guy going to take a lot of sacks, take a lot of hits? So, I mean, once again, we're in these situations because we're not showing the direction that needs to be proven where there is going to be no doubt.
Yeah, listen, so you have a lot of valid points, and I'm being a bit just technical and ticky-tack with you. I agree with you. Is USC where it should be in year three of Lincoln Riley? I don't think Preston and I think that for 1 second. I don't think many fans. I don't think Lincoln Riley thinks he's where he should be in year 3 at USC. I don't know, Preston. I'm kind of taking this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Colorado last year, you know, they're 4-8. I mean, it was better than the season they had prior. But I mean, Lincoln Riley came in the program with 11-1 first year, and then we had last year, and now we have this year. And there's a lot of development, you know, going on beneath the surface that you know, obviously people don't really care about because it's not getting us wins right now. So I understand that. But you know, it's gonna take time, man. And you know, just a little bit of time, a little bit more recruiting, and I have faith in Lincoln Riley. I understand not everybody has faith in it, and people, you know, think year 3 is the year where everything was supposed to be turned around. You know, that's similar in college football. Everybody looks at the year 3, but I believe in the process, and I believe, you know, we will turn the corner at some point soon.
And really quickly, Colorado chat people out there, here's the phone number. Give me a call and tell me about your wonderful program that's on par with USC. I'll try. Do you guys 0-17? You guys had 17 shots at beating USC in some of the worst years in our history. You guys went donut for 17 on us. So you can go, you know, feel free. Here's the phone number, Colorado. Call in. Let me know why USC should take a backseat to Colorado in any football conversation. I'd love to hear that. Avery, anything else for us?
You my guy, Tim. At no point, no angle was I doing that. I'm just laying the current landscape of what we got going on, man. I'm skeptical because you say 8-4.
I said at best. No, hold on.
Connor,
at best.
Yeah, and then here's the reality, Tim. If you don't have a good season and close it out strong, what are you selling? What are you selling now?
You're selling playing time. Wait. You're selling development and playing time. You're selling what these young guys do. Win or loss, I think that Danton Lynn said it best at the press conference. He's like, you know, even in the losses, you need to show improve. You know, regardless, he's not saying no one wants to lose. He's all, but you need to show. You're asking me what you do. You're showing these recruits what we're doing here at USC, the improvements being made. There's no denying. All the haters, even the people that want to rip on USC, they know the defense has changed dramatically. Does USC have the pieces? No. So what are you selling? You're saying, and this is music to a recruit's ears, you are what we need. You come in here, we're ready to go. We're talking championships. You are the pieces that we need to build this championship team. That's what they're selling. And by the way, Avery, you are my guy. You're an original caller here. So I feel like we can go back and forth like we always do, because I love it. This is your show. This is your call. When people say things that just, again, ding, ding, ding in my head. I just want to come back and kind of throw my 2 cents into. So don't worry about that, Avery. I think you're a great caller. I appreciate you calling in, but that's what they're selling. What do you see them selling?
I agree, Tim. I believe like last year's close, they're going to have to be wholesale changes on the offensive side of the ball and the philosophy. Me personally, I think Lincoln needs to figure out another type of way to delegate the offensive play calling. There definitely needs to be an upgrade on the offensive line as far as coaching. And me personally, there just needs to be some basic things, right? There needs to go back to some under center plays, running some old school USC plays, man. Like I've seen between him, Sark, and the gumbo offense, I've seen so much deviation from the basics of what represents USC on offense. Like I don't get it. I don't. So I agree with you when you say, you're selling playing time. My fear is, man, it's hard to put that on freshmen on the defensive side of the ball for 2 years, especially if you're striking out on the transfer portal, not spending the check. I feel, yes, that is a great thing to hear, but that's hard to do. And then as far as depth, how do you build depth like that? You feel me? So I get you. I get you.
All right. We can look at a glass half full, half empty. I don't think that being pessimistic and objectivity are mutually exclusive. Same thing. I don't think that objectivity and optimism are mutually exclusive. So listen, there is something needs to be fixed at USC. You have to believe it. So basically, fans, you got to make this decision right now. You don't have to, but a lot of you are. Is USC moving in the right direction? Do you feel that it can be done with this staff? My answer is, are they moving in the right direction? Yes. Can they do it with this staff? My answer is yes. The question I have at this point is, does USC have the commitment? I believe they do from what they've shown with the facilities that they're building and with the coaching staff that they're hiring and the head coach they brought in, going get another blue blood coach. So, come on over here, going to UCLA and taking their defensive coordinator. I think they are going to make but the last piece is, are they committed to NIL? Do they have the resources to compete with the Ohio States, with the Oregons ultimately in order to win the Big Ten? That's going to be your question. Are we going to be the Penn State where you get good coaching and development and we're always there, but we're not going to get over the hump because we don't have the players? That's your question. But the earlier ones, are we moving in the right direction? Yes. Are we improving? Absolutely. Can the staff get us there? The staff can get us there. Can they get the players? That's my big question. All right, Avery.
Sorry.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for calling in. Don't be a stranger.
Hey, man. Hey, no matter where I'm at, I'm all the way on the East Coast, man. I'm still gonna support the program. Good talking to you outside on, man.
Fight on, Avery. That's good. I got to get a graphic for where in the world is Avery, because he's always on the move. Thank you, Avery.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. I mean, the old eyeball test, really, Preston.
Yeah.
No one can deny that USC is not getting better. I'd love to hear from a Colorado fan. You're out there chirping in the chat. Please stampede on here and have a conversation with me. I'd love to hear what Colorado has to offer that USC cannot offer. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Tim. It's Adam calling from Georgia. How's it going?
Adam, how you doing, guys? Adam has right now he has here on the network, he has a Rutgers channel that everyone needs to get over there and sub up to. Make sure if you haven't already done that, support Adam, longtime caller of the show. Appreciate you, Adam. What's on your mind right now?
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. I'll be quick. I just had one question. So we're 4-4 right now. All 4 losses have been close. We've had some tough years. So if someone asked you to really assess the state of the USC program now and going forward, what would you say?
Well, Preston, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go? It's up to you.
You could go. You could go.
All right. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the show. It really helps to support us and get the word out so we can grow the channel. And if you are subscribing, make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. So where I think, sorry, I just want to make sure I get this right. So you want me to know where I think the state of the program is and where it's going. Is that correct, Adam?
Yeah, I'd like to know how you would review the program, and you know, positive, negative, and you know, basically what your thoughts are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you want a snapshot or the 3 years? Are we evaluating the program for the 3 years or where we are right now?
Like where we are right now and where
Okay.
we're going. What is your assessment of the program?
All right, where we are right now. So I'm gonna start with the coaching staff. Like my dad said, it all starts with your first recruits is your staff. I'm very happy with this staff. People have question marks. And they're still questioning. They're still questioning Henson. I see that all the time popping up. Henson has to go. Fire Henson. You guys, he's coaching redshirt freshmen and true freshmen as our backups. We're playing redshirt and true sophomores on the line. There really is not a lot of depth. He came in, there was no depth. The staff as a whole, I think USC is in a great position going forward. This is a staff, like I said, that can and will win championships. They can. Now here's my problem. I don't see us winning the battles. I don't see us getting those big marquee 5-star people on both lines. We had some flashes earlier, right? That kind of that were there and that went away. There's still possibly there's some big fish out there that they can pull in before December signing day. But for USC to go to where we believe USC has to be, USC needs to recruit at elite level, and Lincoln Riley and his staff have not done that yet. I think they would be the first ones to say that as well. But this is a different age. You know, it's not about just playing time, selling your program, selling development, selling NFL, selling that. It is about the NIL game. And USC is not throwing down, to my knowledge, I'm sure they'd be bragging about it, $20 million to build rosters. USC is not 3 or 4 or 5 plays away from being undefeated, but they are 3, 4, 5 guys, I believe, away from being undefeated. I would love to hear a conversation or an argument that we're not 4 or 5 guys away. 4 or 5, difference maker guys on both sides of the ball from being a championship football team, Preston. So where do I think we are, where we're going? I think USC needs to sort out. I'm looking at a top 10, maybe top 7 or 8 recruiting class in the country next year, going on top of 2 very solid recruiting classes. I think they lock up Julian Lewis in this class, and they add a couple of interior defensive linemen and a tackler too, in addition to the tackles they got, who, by the way, they're doing a really good job recruiting. But I want to see some splashes on the defensive interior. If we see that, then yes, I'm very bullish on the program going forward. I'd like to hear Preston first, and then I'd love to hear a rebuttal from you.
Yeah, I just think the program is really an evolution. I think regardless of what people may think, in terms of the personnel we have on the field right now, I believe we're overachieving actually with the personnel we have on the field. So I think that is something that's positive. Just when I look at them play, and I think so that makes me feel like the trajectory is upward. A lot of good things going on in the program, new facilities, great coaching staff, and I think recruiting is also on the up and up as well. So that's my feeling of the program right now.
All right, Adam, what do you got?
Yeah, sorry guys, I couldn't hear you. So here's the thing. Last thing I'll say is, even though we're 4-4, I kind of look beyond the record, and I think Riley is really battling, and I think he's doing a much better job this year. I think D'Anton Lynn has done a fantastic job. So I think if we get some good recruits, the future looks bright. We're just going to have to be a little patient. So ironically, I'm pretty positive on the program. So listen, great show as always, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Anytime, Adam.
Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Make sure you're checking out his work over on the Rutgers channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure. And by the way, again, I'm really terrible about promoting this channel. If you haven't subscribed, you guys, it's right here. It's super easy. All you got to do is follow the bouncing arrow. Oh, you can't on that white backdrop. But let's take a look really quickly.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you soon. Take a look at this right here, you guys. So yes or no, folks, in the chat, right? We're going to go one at a time here. And I'd love to hear from the Colorado people too. Caller, hang on 1 second. We're going to have a fun little exercise about the USC's record versus Colorado's record. So Colorado, okay, USC, North Dakota State. So we got a chance here for Ents to go up against his old team. Do we pull out a win here? Do we squeak a 5-point win over the Bison? What do you think, Preston? Do we have a win or loss there?
That's a big win for the USC Trojans.
That one is a big win. All props to the Bison, but yeah, they're not, especially if you watched week 1 when we're healthy on both sides of the ball. That's a W. Nebraska. Now here we're gonna have a conversation. Do we beat Nebraska? This one I'll throw us a toss-up, But guess what? The Buffaloes lost by 18, so we'll just table that one. That one we can revisit in a couple of weeks. Colorado State Rams, guys. Do you think the Trojans beat the Rams? I'm going to limb here, and I'm saying yes. Chat, big what do you guys think? Do you think the Trojans could beat the mighty Rams of Colorado State? Go ahead and let me know. What do you think, Preston? Do you think that we could pull up, we could steal one?
I think we'll be able to handle those guys up in Fort Collins. I think that
I know it's on the road to Fort Collins.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that'll be a smash.
Yeah. At altitude, we still pull that win. Baylor Bears. Do we squeak away? Do we get out of there with a victory?
I don't think we have any problem with Aranda and those Baylor Bears.
Oh wait, no, we get that at home. Yeah, that one's going to be an absolute a bloody thing. So now we're 4-0, guys. Well, so we'll call it 3-0 with a question mark. And then we have the mighty UCF Knights coming right up from, it used to be a group of 5 team. Now I'm moving up to the Power 5, the Power 5, the Power 5 in the Island of Misfit Toys. Yeah. So what do we think here? Do you think we get a win here, you guys?
Oh yeah, man. Go up to Orlando in the bounce house, smash those guys up in Orlando, go to Disney after. That'll be fun.
I think that's a W for SC. And then the Kansas State Wildcats. And I'll tell you, it's weird, but Kansas State's always been a thorn in USC's side. But I think also, once again, at home, they're going to handle K-State. We could say it. You could have the conversation. Well, you guys lost to Maryland. You lost to Minnesota. Both those games were on the road. At home, we're a different animal. We're taking the number 3 team in the country to overtime. So I think we get the win there as well. And then Arizona, a reeling Arizona team. Do we have any chance? I think we lose that game. I think I've kind of beaten my point into the ground. Colorado Buffaloes were just afraid to call in. USC would be undefeated and talking. USC, if they were in a Big 12, I will even say this, is a lock for the playoffs. If USC was in the Big 12, USC with this current roster would have been a lock for the playoffs. Yeah, so get out of here with that Colorado stuff, please. That's you're just embarrassing yourself. All right, I'm sorry, caller. I just had to do that really quickly. Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Pete in Idaho.
Pete, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah, I was just watching an old Boise State game where they beat Georgia from years back, and I saw something that made me think of USC, which was that Miller Moss is not getting as much protection as let's say Kellen Moore was in this game I just watched. And Kellen Moore wasn't much of a runner either. And I thought, and then they brought in Grant Hendrick, who was the backup guy, the running quarterback, and he scores a touchdown. And he had a couple of big plays like that. And I thought that something like that might work for USC right now.
One precedent.
I thought it was predictable. It seemed predictable, but it worked.
Well, you bring in the guy that's the running guy. The way I want to see it is you bring that guy in. You bring Jada Mayava, and it's 4th and 1. You have him fake it and do it and throw it to the tight end. I mean, that's what I would want to see. Obviously it doesn't work. But if you bring in a guy, let's say it's on a regular series, we bring him in for a package, right? They know he's most likely running the ball. Do you know what I mean? If that is the situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do believe Jada Mayava is not a one-dimensional. He's not, and Mayava is not an Alex Orji. But if you're not bringing him in to run, what are we bringing him in for? Why would we bring in the switch up there? Do you know what I mean? The only thing I can see is I would love to bring in just so they see a package so that the other team's defense has to prepare for it. Yeah. I think it's comical, but people always make fun of like they always line up like in the swinging gate or whatever they're doing at the goal line for 2-point conversion, but they never do it. They end up kicking the field goal. Why? Because you just made the other team spend at least 10, 20 minutes, I don't know, 30 minutes preparing for that. And so that's time they can't be working on other stuff. So, I mean, there's little parts to it that I see. Earlier we talked about why isn't he playing? I think he has put a little too much. Miller Moss has been here at USC for 3 years, knows this offense like the back of his hand. You have Jada Mayaba coming in. He's a young guy coming into the system, and he just might not be ready, you guys. I wish fans could wrap their heads around that. And it's not like the team is losing because, well, he throws an interception every game. You guys, quarterbacks throw interceptions. They throw interceptions. Yeah. Has he made some throws he shouldn't have made? Absolutely. But he's also made a lot of plays that only Miller Moss on this team probably could have made. So it's the give and take of it. Lincoln Riley has Miller Moss as the quarterback because he gives the Trojans the best chance to win. The backup quarterback is always the favorite player on the team. It's just always the case, and that's the way it always will be. If there was a chance that someone said that they're even, if they were dead even, I would bet my bottom dollar that Jada Mayaba would have got in at some point. I really do. When you lose 4 games, if they were dead even, you would just switch it up. Nothing on Miller. You're both even, but we need to try something different. If they were even, but you guys, they're not even at this point. And one thing I'm not going to go on. We could talk about clock management issues with you guys. We can all talk about recruiting strategies. We can all talk about whatever we want. Keeping Grinch too long, etc. But one thing you got to have a hard time selling me on is that Lincoln Riley does not know how to evaluate quarterbacks. Preston, that's one bridge is just too far for me.
Yeah. Definitely knows what he's doing. I loved, 2 quarterback stuff. It's cool, man. I remember watching Chris Leak and Tim Tebow and stuff like that. They did a lot of exotic things, and but he knows. Who am I to tell him what needs to be done with the quarterbacks and who to play, or let's use 2 quarterbacks. He knows. He's Lincoln Riley, so I think he knows what we need to do to win. So.
This was supposed to be the theme of the show. We've gone totally off the rails. And I have been asking people's scores. Listen, Dad, Brian, Avery, and Adam, if you guys have a score for me, can you drop it in the chat? Because I've loved these conversations. I've gone way off script. And if anyone right now, you guys, can we go ahead right now in the chat? I'd love to hear it. You guys chime in. I wonder what the Colorado guys are going to say. Chime in. Tell me, Juju Lewis will end up at. No, none of us know where he's going to end up. I think he ends up at USC. You guys let me know. Go ahead right now in the chat. Let me know, where will Juju Lewis end up? Where will he be December? Now, whether you learned, where will he be in August? Who knows? Because whatever happens in December is not exactly set in stone. But where do we think he's going to be in December? Yeah, go ahead and give it a shot. Really quickly, Pete, what do you think about what's the score? You got a score for us up in Seattle?
Yeah, I think they're going to win by 10.
By 10. Okay, so maybe like what about maybe a 27-17?
30 to 20.
30 to 20. Okay. All right. Anything else for us, Pete?
No, that's it. Good show.
Great call. Thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it. This is your guys' show, you guys.
Thanks.
We're here. You're welcome. We're here Thursday because, well, I'm not going to lie, the Dodgers were on, and it went from 5-0 to 5-5. And literally, we were here. We were ready to go. Preston was here. Gabe was actually backstage with us. We're all talking. And I'm watching this thing. I say, guys, I would have been watching my other monitor the entire time. You guys would have a whole show of this.
Yeah. That's
crazy. Great. Next caller. That's what it would have been because, but you guys don't know, the world champion Dodgers decided to. I had them in 5. I was gonna say 6. I thought both home teams would keep, would hold serve and it would come back. Someone said that it was Fernando Valenzuela's birthday. Is that you know what? It was I think it was Roy Banuelos that told Gabe and me that. We were so Roy Banuelos, Gabe and I were backstage watching the game right here on StreamYard. That's what we were still in StreamYard. And again, you guys, sorry about that. So we're here every Wednesday. Where am I going? We're here every Wednesday unless the Dodgers are winning the World Series. Then we're going to move back to a Thursday. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? This is Music from Florida. Again, how y'all doing this evening?
What's going on?
Appreciate you calling every week now. Music, you're becoming a regular. How you doing?
Yeah. So I'll be listening, and I'll be listening to some of the stuff you be saying sometimes. It's kind of crazy. But listen.
The feeling's mutual, but I love you calling.
You're going to end up Yeah, I think Juju will end up either in Colorado or maybe Indiana because he still got a trip to Indiana.
Okay, so
I just don't think he's coming to USC because, yeah.
Why?
Because I think Miller Moss is probably going to stay another year. You have Jason still there, my album still there, so he's going to get playing time.
So you don't think he thinks he can beat out Miller Moss or Jaden Mayava? That's what you think?
That's what I think, because for the simple fact, I think that if Miller Moss stays another year, he'll get more adapted into the system. And you still got Jason Mayava, you don't know what he can do yet. So, you know, with him going to Colorado, you already know Shedeur is probably going to go. Well, Shedeur is going to the draft. And then, like I said, I think Indiana's quarterback is a senior as well. I think he's a transfer senior. So we have an opportunity to play either one of those places because he still hasn't been to Indiana yet. I know that was one of his trips he was supposed to be going on from what I've heard off the internet.
Mm-hmm. So you see him going to Dion or Signetti to be groomed as a quarterback instead of Lincoln Riley. And why do you think that? Why do you think? Do you think it's because of competition? I mean, again, that's what I think. I think if he doesn't end up at SC, it's not because. Again, I want to be very clear. I don't want my words twisted around. This is a business decision, and he wants to go where he has a clear-cut path to be the guy, show what he can do, not have to sit behind anybody else, and ball out. Because this kid, wherever he goes, is going to ball out. And I think that he's making a business decision. You don't want to be a guy like an Arch Manning and sit behind. Well, I mean, I guess he's making a lot of money and whatever, but you don't want to sit behind somebody when you come in. You want to go and you want to be the guy right away. And so I think that I think that that's going to be a situation. That's the only reason I see why he's hesitant. Period.
But see, the thing about Arch Manning is this, though. You know, the manager himself probably had a game plan for him anyway. So they told me to sit back and just learn up under Sarkisian. But Quinn Ewers going to be gone anyway. Either or, because I think the Texas fans right now are calling for Arch Manning to start right now. So he already knew if he just sat out that year to learn that when he gets into the game, he'll be able to play, which he proved himself this year when he had the playing time, played in the game and stuff like that.
And let's say this also.
I just think that
he's also had a lot of development. He has the best coaches in the world. So, I mean, it's not like he has to go in a situation like that as well. So he has all the resources. He certainly ain't hurting for money. But yeah, I agree with you. It is apples to oranges. I was just saying, all things being equal, you don't want to be that guy that goes in and sits behind someone if you're in that position where you have to, carve out your NIL. That's really my big point.
Yeah, but see, sometimes sitting behind somebody can help out a little bit. But again, like you guys say all the time, every week and stuff like that, Lincoln Riley is just offensive guru and things like that. I just don't see it now. Like I said before, you're scoring 40-some points a game for the last 2 years. Now all of a sudden it's down to 30-something. It just doesn't make sense. I think the hires he made from the defensive side of the ball were outstanding. That defense holding teams under, I think the team scored with maybe 20, 21 points, I think, so far. It hasn't been over 30. So he made outstanding hire with the defensive side of the ball. But it's his side of the ball that's not helping.
Let me ask you a question. Is that because of, let's do the multiple choice here, and we can branch off it. Is that because of Lincoln Riley's play calling? Is that because of Miller and Moss? Or is that because of the offensive line mainly? Because you know what I watched? I watched last year this guy named Caleb Williams, who is just the greatest quarterback I've ever seen step on the Coliseum, struggle in an offense where he was tearing it up years ago. What was the difference? The offensive line. And now Miller and Moss and Lincoln Riley inherited that line situation. And is it Lincoln Riley and his play calling and his quarterback development as a quarterback guru? Because see, he has years and years and years of proof that he is that guy. Whereas the one variable we have right here is we have an offensive line that's improving but is struggling. So which one do you think it is? Do you think it's Lincoln Riley, the quarterback, or the offensive line? And also, I want to follow this up. Do you think if Miller and Moss had a stronger line, meaning he was not getting hit right away as soon as they hiked the ball, that he would be more than enough as a quarterback to win games?
Yeah, well, like I said before, Miller Moss has, like I said, everybody talk about Miller Moss and what he's been doing for the past couple years, but nobody said nothing about when he played LSU and went down and had the game-winning drive. Nobody talks about that. Mm-hmm. But all these losses they talking about. So I think Miller Moss is a good quarterback. Now, in my opinion, I would have never moved the center because he was a tackle first. What's his name?
Jonah Monheim.
Monheim. He should have never moved. He should never move to center. He should still been on the tackle. He should have been a tackle, not a center. They could have got anybody else to play center at USC. It wouldn't have been that difficult. So Lincoln Riley, and I said this before, Lincoln Riley has to understand what he has in front of him. He knows he doesn't have a good offensive line. So it's a spot offense. Moss, get the ball out your hand quicker. Or let's run the ball more. You know, these past couple of years, even though Kevin Williams is an outstanding quarterback, and I think he had a flashback Sunday against Washington when they got the Hail Mary, it's kind of similar to like what happened in the Tulane game in the bowl game. But this is still based on Lincoln Riley, and I can't give him like enough leeway. The man's had 3 years already. He's had 3 years to figure this thing out. You can't who are you gonna fire next? You already fired your Ocean 12 buddy.
Well, I don't think they have to fight. Well, music. I don't think they have to fire anybody. I think here's the issue. I don't think anyone, including Lincoln Riley, is going to argue with you that he really set the program back by having Grinch and then retaining Grinch. I mean, nobody can argue that, right? It should have been done, and, and it's a stain. It's a huge stain on him as a coach. But he's a young coach, and the one thing he'd do is Preston. Not only did he fix that, but I think he fixed it with a home run hire. Yeah. Which, as much as I'm going to crack on him,
no doubt.
Right? So then what I'm saying is as a fan base and as people looking in and watching, because music, I know you know football. This staff, do you think we could win with this? Just the staff, not the players. Can we win with this staff at a high level?
I think with the defensive staff, yes. But if Lincoln Riley this year gets rid of the play call, because I'm going to still think about, I think that Cliff Kingsbury helped out last year with some of those plays with Caleb Williams and stuff like that. Lincoln Riley has become more of a head coach versus a head coach offense coordinator. You can't do both. You got to give up some of that in order to kind of sort of make this thing work. Like I said, he's a proven guy that can quarterback whisper. All the quarterbacks he's had so far went to the NFL and been successful. So that right there is cool. But what I'm saying is that his play calling, if you have a young quarterback that's going to get popped in the mouth, you still dropping back 50 times. Well, Willie Marks is killing the game. He's running the ball. He's killing the game. You got 3 running backs, which one I think is going to lead to Marion Peterson. I think he's going to leave. I think he's going to transfer. Mm-hmm. But you have running backs that can run the ball. So you have a large offensive line that can run the ball. So like I said before, we have to stop giving Lincoln Riley a pass. We got to stop giving him a pass. Year 1, cool, I understand. Yeah. Year 2, but this is year 3. Right. And we do, and like I said, USC and besides Oregon, USC in the Big Ten has the most talent if you just look at the team as a whole. They have too much talent.
So Preston, are we giving Lincoln Riley too much of a pass?
No,
I don't think anyone's giving him a pass.
I don't think so, man. I think it's just a lack of the offensive firepower that we've seen with Caleb Williams, and a lot of people like Brendan Rice and Taj Washington were very reliable, great blockers, great pass catchers last year, very reliable receivers, like more reliable than the young receivers that we have this year. Like that's just a fact, you know what I'm saying? So like, you got to look at that, man, and that as well as the offensive line. Defense is definitely a lot better.
But take it for Malachi Lemon. I think Malachi Lemon is a very, very good wide receiver. I don't think he's a wide receiver one, but he's a very good wide receiver. Branch is having an off year this year. I don't know if it's just a sophomore jinx or what. Like I said, Robinson's a very good receiver. Tall and lanky, can catch the ball. And then you still have Jacoby Lane, who's really, really good. Then you have more players on the side. That's really, really good. So Lincoln Riley has a whole year to game plan this thing and what he wants to do before the season starts. You know, it's not that I'm not giving up on him, but if you look at Lincoln Riley's record and Clay Helton's record, it's almost the same. Clay Helton might be a little bit better as far as win-loss record in 3 years.
Okay, hold on.
Circumstantial. You got me. I don't like.
We're listen. Hold on. So one, Clay Helton didn't play in the Big Ten. That's number one, right? Yeah. Against the schedule. Now, if we played Purdue and I don't know. I can't even say Minnesota, can I? Gosh, dang it! You just pointed me into a circle. But my point is that Clay Helton. I'm sorry, music. I think way too highly of you. I want you to take that one back anyone comparing Lincoln Riley to Clay Helton is just letting these emotions come up too high. Because
But I'm going record wise now, not coaching wise, but record wise. At this time, this stage.
Well, I mean,
if I'm not mistaken, I look at the stats and see.
But look at the players that he inherited from Sarkisian. Okay, look at the NFL talent that was dripping on that 2016 team. Ronald Johnson as your running back, Sam Darnold as your quarterback. You got guys like Sua Cravens. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you look. I mean, Sua. Sorry, but you sorry, not Sua. But you have guys on that team that are difference makers. And I'm not saying we don't have difference makers. I don't. But do you think that he inherited a better roster from Sarkisian than Lincoln Riley, especially on the offensive line? You don't think that offensive line that he inherited wasn't leaps and bounds better than what Lincoln Riley has inherited?
But like I said, our offensive line is not bad. We have bodies. We have big bodies on our offensive line. I don't know, like I said, if they're not being developed correctly or what.
They are.
We have big bodies. We have like 4 stars on the line. So
he's a redshirt freshman.
Development on the offensive line.
Yeah, he's a redshirt freshman. He's a 4-star, but a redshirt freshman. Okay, well, listen.
Yeah, but still, he's like 330 pounds.
So I watched 16 and 17, and they won in spite of Clay Helton. So I'll tell you that. This team right here won 11 games because of Lincoln Riley in 2022, and Caleb Williams. And without those two guys, head coach Lincoln Riley, and without Caleb Williams, do you remember where we were in 2021? I've never seen this program. I lived through the Hackett years, and it was nothing like the vibe and the quality of play that we had going on here at USC in 2021. And to turn it around in 1 year, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with the Caleb Williams thing. But I still think like Lincoln Riley was a fresh coach coming to the Pac-12, and a lot of people didn't kind of know what he was going to do and stuff like that. So I agree with that. And I'm not saying Lincoln Riley is a bad coach. I've just been saying for the past couple of weeks that he's not the right coach for this job.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
All right, so I clearly cannot change your opinion, and I don't want to. We'll just see where it turns out. All right. I think Lincoln Riley. I think Lincoln Riley is going to be very successful at USC. I think he's past. It's very easy right now to fall on the side and say he's a bum. Get rid of him. We don't know. I don't know. He's giving me a lot of pause. Again, the whole Grinch thing, big question marks. Our NIL situation and our recruiting, big question marks. But I think he figures those things out. And if he does, he's going to be insanely successful here at USC, Preston. I mean, I have no doubt about it.
100%.
But next year though, the schedule gets a little bit harder next year. Like this schedule for the Big Ten this year was a cupcake for him. He should have. Like I said, the Notre Dame game is going to be. It's going to be I don't know how it's going to be, but I picked USC to go 10-2 this year before the season even started. I said they'll probably lose to Notre Dame, and they'll probably lose to Penn State. I did say that. So. We'll see though. But like I said, I'm looking at the game that continues for USC, but I just think he's not the right guy for the job. But one more comment about Deion.
Gotta be quick.
No.
Gotta be quick. What is it? We've been on an hour and a half. So if you got something that's really quick for us, we're good music. Love you and all, but we've been on for an hour and a half. So make it quick. I have one more caller behind you.
Go ahead. We'll catch you on the subject. Yeah, go ahead. We'll catch you with the subject again. So I'll you and bring it up.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you for calling in. Appreciate you very much. All right, Preston, we'll get one more in here. We're a half hour over already, but we'll Preston's like, I'm never ever gonna co-host with this guy again.
Nah, man, that's good, man. Yeah.
All right, listen. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where you call? And you know what? Music, if you could, in the chat. And the rest of you guys, can we get some scores? This is our last call of the night. We've been on for an hour and a half. Can you guys drop your scores in the chat? In the chat right now, drop your scores. USC going up to Seattle. I believe we're 2.5 point favorite. I don't know if the lines moved, Preston. Do you know?
Let me. Yeah, it was at 2.5.
I think it's 2.5. So you guys, what do you guys see? USC up in Seattle. Give me some scores. Drop them in the chat right now if you could. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Music, especially. I want to hear your score. Hello.
Hey, it's Dixer Squid.
Gixer, how you doing, sir? Talk about a long time caller.
Hey, I'm doing really well. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. How you doing?
Hey, Juju, I'm doing great. First off, don't apologize for ever delaying the show for a day for the Dodgers World Series.
Absolutely.
We all agree unequivocally that's totally acceptable.
Priorities.
In regards to the bottom, yeah, exactly. And in regards to where Juju's going, unequivocally, it's still USC. I mean, if you look at his X account, I mean, he's reposting, he's tweeting USC, et cetera, et cetera. But I did want to highlight one thing, if I may, and I apologize if you already talked about this because I kind of joined the show late, Halloween and everything.
And Gigster, you're old school. You're like an original caller going way back to when Rick and Tony and I were doing shows. So you don't apologize for anything on the show. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, maybe not tonight because I know we're kind of short for time, but I think there needs to be a conversation about short-term versus long-term game. And what I mean by that is like if you look at the players right now or the prospects that are coming in that have the larger NIL deals, I objectively think, with the exception of one or two, many of them are chasing the paper. And you have to look at, okay, what institution, what coach, what program, especially for a quarterback, is going to give them the most upside long-term. And it's objectively, it's Lincoln Riley. If you're a quarterback, it's Lincoln Riley. I mean, look at his resume, look at the Heisman Trophy winners he's helped support, produce, et cetera. So I think Juju's going to USC. I mean, he's a bright young man. And here's the irony. Carrollton, they're the Trojans.
Yeah, I know.
He's been conditioned, right? I mean, come on. Like, what poetic story would be better than that?
When I faded, I originally had a fade out. I originally had a fade out of the Carrollton helmet he was throwing, and it looked like a Trojan helmet because I had it black and white and faded out on the thumbnail. Yeah, I mean, the irony of that is he's grown up a Trojan ball, and that's the thing you guys, a lot of the local people don't understand. Like, you have like that, was it all these 7-on-7 guys? There's like a Ducks, it's like you see Ducks everywhere. These kids grew up, really, these local schools, they love this loving some duck. As gross as that makes us, just. It's a duck hunt, left, right, and center for me. Whenever I hear that, I just think of Ducks. Whenever I say Ducks, I can't take them seriously. They got a great program. They're scaring the crap out of me. I ain't gonna lie. Clip this right here because they're playing some great ball. They've got a hell of a roster and a hell of a salary cap, but they're playing great ball. Gigster, I think it's gonna be fixed when we get that general manager they're trying to shoot for. This is far beyond having a recruiting, the days of having like your recruiting coordinator and you have a guy on your staff that's doing that and you have some staffers doing it. This is now turning into big time football, and you need to have big time structure like they have up in Oregon. What I want you to do, and my God, I'm going to get sick saying this. Look at what they're doing for NIL at Oregon and copy it. You won't be able to make a Xerox copy of it. You won't be exact. You don't have that Phil Knight. You don't have those Nike executives. That should be your model. Yeah. Why aren't we doing that?
However, I agree with you. However, respectfully, USC, we're an innovative place. We do things that are emergent and new and novel. And what I would love to see, because I know there's been a lot of smack about NIL and USC and how we may be a little bit timid, going full force. I would love to see Lincoln leverage his Heisman Trophy winners and have, I don't want to say a Lincoln collective, but have previous players that have earned a Heisman that are clandestinely or overtly or explicitly saying, hey, you need to come here. So not to say Caleb hasn't said, hey, Juju, you should go to Lincoln, et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm getting at is we have so much history, proven performance. And I mean, just look at the Coliseum. I mean, look at the jersey. I would just love to see leveraging, Caleb or leveraging Reggie or fill in the blank, anyone that's, still active and wants to participate, and really drive home that, like, look, now is the opportunity. If you're an upcoming offensive player, where else would you want to be? I mean, not to belittle or devalue our defense, but I mean, leverage that, because if we have Lincoln, that's his skill set. We all agree that he's offensive forward. we should really figure out how to coalesce the synergy he's built with his resume and figure out how to leverage that in a new kind of, you know what I mean? To capture those players. Because, you know, the quarterback is the most intentional, methodical person on the field. They, you know what I mean? Like they read everything. They're the decision maker. And to have those voices parlay what we already have to offer, I think is going to pay dividends.
Yeah, I'll let Preston. I know you want to hop in on this, but I'm going to say I agree with you. I like you said. I'm not saying that's going forward for the future of our NIL. I'm saying it's a stopgap. I'm saying right now it just seems like you know, if anyone's been following USC NIL, it's been fill in your blank and fill in your profanity, because it just seems like we've been playing it safe. We've been following the rules. We've been a step or two behind every move. It seems like we don't have a lot of synergy within the collection and a plan and a vision for it. Seems like it's been kind of just all over the place. Whereas schools like Oregon, really from top down, probably literally from Phil Knight down, there was this alignment that has been very successful. And I know we don't have that Phil Knight person, but I think that what they're doing with people that know what they're doing, it's all, again, this will all be settled. I know Jen Cohen's trying to get a general manager. Once that happens, once you have a person that's there to oversee everything, because again, this is beyond the head coaching scope now. This is beyond having, you know, your receivers coach being your recruiting coordinator and killing it. Those days are gone. You know, you need to have, this is a professional business now with contracts and big money. You need to get the professionals involved. And once they do that, Gixer, I think everything will be sorted out. Preston, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, the GM thing I think is definitely very important. It sucks that I think we lost a guy to Alabama. But for Juju, I mean, I made my pitch earlier, but hey, man, 358, you know, draft picks since 67, 26, you know, quarterbacks drafted, best quarterback coach in the country, historic, you know, program. Like, I'm not saying just because I'm a USC fan and supporter, like this is the best decision for him as a quarterback, like to come to USC. Like it's a no-brainer. So yeah, hopefully I think it'll happen and it'll get done.
Yeah, Gixer, awesome call. Appreciate it. We're fading fast again. We're a half hour over our hour.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Hey, love the show as always, Preston.
Yes,
I love your feedback, man, but we got to talk about that jersey, but I'll let it go.
It's a Reggie Bush jersey.
It's a Reggie Bush jersey.
Halloween,
Reggie, man.
I understand, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's just inflammatory to me. I don't know why. All right. Anyways.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, Gixer. Hope you call in again. Listen, guys, I want to thank everyone that called in. We didn't have any call. We had a big presence of Colorado in the chat, but none of you guys want to step up to the mic. That's a shame. But you did have the opportunity. But I did want to thank Gixer right there. Again, he's been around since really the beginning. I started doing these shows with Rick and with Tony. So thank you, Gixer, for calling in. We have Pete from LA. Adam, thank you so much. Make sure you're checking Adam out over on the Rutgers channel. Make sure you get over for that. Also, we have Avery calling as always. Brian, thank you for calling in. My dad, of course, my favorite caller. We had Roland and Dave from Iowa to start us off. What a great show, you guys. Thank you so much. So we will be here next Wednesday. If I can bribe my co-host again to show up after we went a half hour over again today. Thank you all for calling in. We didn't get a lot of scores from you guys, but our predictions really quick. Preston, what do you got?
Yeah, I got 34-20 USC. Yep. Gonna get it done out in Seattle. 34-20 SC.
Yeah, I just, this one really came to me. I'm saying 31-21. I mean, I just think that it's a tough place to play, and I think we get there. Like I talked about over at LAFB, by the way, we were talking about the game, and I said the way to win this thing is you got to get out ahead of them. You're gonna have, Jamal was talking about how, you know, they're gonna run the ball, control the game, slow it down, you know, kind of just almost to choke us out. And I said, yeah, what we've done, what USC's had a problem on the road, especially because we put pretty close to 4 quarters together here at home a couple of times. But what we haven't done is done that on the road. You got to get out in the first quarter, and this offense has to take it to them. You have to take it to them, get out to a lead, make them change their game plan. USC does that, wins 31-21 up in Seattle. going to 5-4, you guys. Appreciate everyone being here. As always, you guys are awesome. Couldn't do it without you because we were the first, but we won't be the last to have a show just like this, where you guys are the stars of the show. Make sure you're checking out Preston over at Preston's Paradise, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Preston's Paradise on YouTube. Fight on Preston on Twitter. I appreciate you guys.
And make sure that you're checking me out over at LAFB. We got articles going up, and I'm doing some photography for them as well. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, callers, for being here. Thank you guys in the chat. I don't get to you guys enough, but appreciate all of you guys. And thank you for all the viewers. If you are here, if you could subscribe to the show, it'd really help us out. Hit that like button. That, believe me, you hear everyone say it, but it absolutely does. That's the best way you can say thank you to us. Hitting that like button and subscribing. So for Preston, I'm Tim. We'll see everybody next time. Fight on, you guys.
Fight on.